This landing seems okay on the face of it, but look closely at the starboard main wheel. The tyre is actually nearly flat. Had I missed it on the walk around, or had I got a puncture during my taxi and takeoff? Welcome to the decision making debrief. Hello, I like to share my flight debriefs and learning points and make these videos with the help of instructors at Astral Aviation Consulting to hopefully raise awareness of safety matters that might or might not help you in your flying. Now, I pride myself on a thorough walk around of my aircraft before the first flight of the day. It used to be called the Check A. I check that everything is intact, there are no cracks or leaks. Look for loose bolts and screws, check the oil and fuel levels, clean the windscreen, de-ice if necessary, ensure that movement on control surfaces is full and free and in the correct sense, and so on. But I am rarely as thorough when doing a transit check, and I think it was a defective transit check that meant I failed to spot that one of my landing gear tyres had a puncture. So I call it a transit check. You might call it something else, but in my mind a transit check is where you've already done your main pre-flight check of the aircraft for the day before its first flight, the Check A if you like. You've then flown somewhere, landed, had lunch or whatever, and then later the same day you intend to fly on, either back home or to somewhere else, and you perform a transit pre-flight check of the aircraft. I don't know about you, but for me, the extent of the transit check varies depending on location, how much time I've been parked up, and so on. For example, if I've landed at a farm strip with animals grazing all around me, I'll give the transit check more attention perhaps than if I've been parked up on a nice, empty, secure apron on an international airfield. Similarly, if I've only stopped for a quick snack and a wee break, the transit check won't be as thorough than if I'd left the airfield and gone shopping for the day. You might perform a full pre-flight check when you're in transit, and it could be argued that would be best practice. Now, the flight I'm debriefing today was somewhere in the middle. It was neither a farm strip nor LAX. It was Wolverhampton, a licensed airfield with a hard runway and an apron, and I'd stopped there for about 2 or 3 hours to do some filming and to have some lunch, so the aeroplane hadn't been left abandoned all day. So by my own rationale, you'd think I'd give it a moderate once-over before flight. Well, I didn't. I just gave it a quick look over, checked the fuel and oil, started her up and went on my way. I think I looked at the undercarriage, but I reckon it had been a case of looking but not seeing, not a thorough check at all. I had been a bit distracted just before. I'd quickly filmed this piece to camera and I was watching the time because of the looming sunset. In the piece to camera, if I zoom in on the starboard main gear wheel, the tyre looks okay actually, but maybe a closer inspection would have shown that all was not right. Clear prop! I started up and taxied to the runway, oblivious that I had a problem, and now I think my underwing camera shows a slightly deflated main gear tyre. Not conclusive from these pictures, but it looks a bit misshapen, I think. I took off, I didn't notice anything unusual. I flew the hour or so back to Redhill and came in to land. I didn't notice anything unusual with the landing either. The rollout was fine, the taxi was fine. But as you can see, the underwing camera does appear to show that the tyre is even flatter still. It wasn't until I was tying the aeroplane down though, after shutdown, that I spotted the tyre was a strange shape. I've just got out of the aeroplane, had a look around and noticed that my starboard main gear tyre is looking pretty flat. It wasn't like that this morning, so I picked up a puncture, I think. From one angle it kind of looks sort of okay, but round the other side it was more obvious. Perhaps that's why my swift transit check hadn't picked up the defect. I just hadn't looked closely enough. I got my foot pump out and measured the pressure, only to find it was reading 0. No pressure at all. It should be 30. So I pumped it up. That's all I can do for now. Come back in a few days before my next flight, see where it's at. And if it's flat again, well, we're going to have to get somebody out. But I think we are going to have it checked. Anyway. A day later, I returned to find it had gone completely flat again. This whole saga has led me to completely review my attitude to walkarounds. I think my transit checks need to be more thorough and deliberate, almost akin to the check I perform for the first flight of the day. Also, I think this scenario will change my processes after flight. In the military and in commercial aviation, I think pilots will routinely perform a post-flight walkaround. Yet in light GA, I don't think I've come across anyone doing that as a process in itself. Yeah, of course we tie down, we put the chocks in and attach the pitot covers and so on, but I wonder how many of us do a thorough post-flight walkaround as a separate task. Maybe you do. This probably won't be something that you'd be doing at a flight school with flight school aircraft because they're going in and out on multiple sorties every day. But if it's your own aircraft or a group-owned aircraft, a post-flight check is probably a really prudent thing to do. If I hadn't spotted that the tyre was flat when I did, I would have been faced with some serious aggravation, and my plans that I'd had for that flight when I come back to the aircraft would have been completely messed up. Because I spotted it, okay, by chance on this occasion, I can get the tyre fixed in slow time.
These debrief videos are made with the help of Astral Aviation Consulting, the CAA's GA safety partner. They're running a workshop which is called Know Your Aircraft, and it's on the 26th of March at 7:30 in the evening, British time, and it will cover the walkaround in more detail. To sign up for that workshop and to see other free sessions, visit their website at astralaviationconsulting.com.